to this Aerotime interview as part of our special week dedicated to pilots. My name is Victoria O'Brien, and I'm delighted to be here to interview a number of captains and first officers during this week when we'll be marking International Pilots Day. We'll be bringing some special reports and interviews from across the world as we take a deeper look into the role of pilots in our COVID-hit world today. Now, I'm pleased to introduce sisters Sophia Amira Abu Bakr and Sophia Anisa Abu Bakr, who are both senior first officers with AirAsia. Amira and Anisa are both in their 20s and they are already flying high. Their father, Abu Bakr, who is also a pilot with AirAsia, has been playing a huge role in supporting and inspiring the two sisters since their childhood. Although he's due to retire in a few years, he knows the family flying tradition is safe with his two daughters. After all, at the age of 58, he got a new type rating just so he could fly with them. Amira and Anisa, thank you for joining us and for bringing your story to Aerotime. I want to start by going right back to the beginning. Your father is a pilot, so I assume he played a major role in inspiring you to join the industry. Can you tell us how he inspired you and when you first got the aviation bug?
I got it way back when I was young, when I was in kindergarten, when I was in school. He used to fly us around every year, and he would bring us in the cockpit. He would show us his view and his environment, and he's always so excited about it. He's always so happy, and I told myself, I gotta be like him, you know. I want to work like him. I want to be as happy as him, and it's so joyful. It's so nice for me. It's her, because I got to see everything she saw as well, because we weren't that far apart. Our age gap isn't that big, but I was very close to my sister, so seeing her fly was a really wow factor, especially because she was a lady. So that she definitely made me want to become a pilot.
And so when did you both start flying? And what did your father say when you both said that you wanted to become pilots?
We both started at 18. It was much easier for me than it was for her. Yeah, I struggled a bit because as a female, I think my mom and dad, especially my mom, she doesn't encourage, but my dad encourages, and I had to beg my mom for them to enroll me in a flight school. It was a bit hard for me, but it was easy for her. Yeah, my dad offered me. He just randomly came to me one day and said, "Do you want to become a pilot?" And I was like, "Yes." And he was like, "Okay." And on that day itself, he took me to a flying school. So lucky.
Oh wow, that's great to hear. So how do you think it's changed in the time that you've been flying? Do you think it's a bit more open to women now since you started?
Definitely, especially with this airline. I think when I came in, seeing lady pilots were a norm. It wasn't at all weird or different. It was just a norm for us. Yes, in Asia.
Great. And obviously it must have helped to be in it together as sisters. You can go to each other for advice and support.
Yes, all the time. All the time. Yes.
Great. And now being at one of the it's a sizable airline in Asia. You fly with lots of different people all the time. How often do you get to fly with each other as a family, or even with your father? And can you tell us what it is like when you do get to all be in the flight deck or on the same plane together?
I flew with my dad 5 times, but normally I would fly with the same captain. I guess only so far 3 times the most, but I flew with my dad 5 times. It's because I requested. I flew with my dad twice, both coincidental, and I've actually been in a cockpit with my sister and my dad. They were operating, and I was taxiing as a flight crew from another base back home. It was amazing because never in my life I thought I would be in a cockpit as a flight crew with my sister and my dad, especially because last time in the airlines he used to work with, they did not accept ladies. So seeing that happen in real time was very, very, very flattering, very humbling.
That's great. Did the passengers know that you were all there together as a family in the flight deck?
I think they did, because we were a bit
I was excited when I came in. I was like, I'm seeing my dad. All the crews know, so I think maybe a few passengers noticed. But when we do fly with our dad actually announces on on the PA that he is flying with my daughter. Yeah.
So they do know.
They do. Yeah.
That must be great, and a real inspiration for the passengers, hopefully, to see you in there with your father. You have some great female role models, although there aren't very many of them around in aviation. But the CEO of AirAsia Indonesia, Veronita Josephine, Maritime actually interviewed a few weeks ago. Are there other women or men who inspire and encourage you in aviation?
It's actually mostly, mainly my father. He inspired the most for me.
Yeah. But our company is very, I mean, when we joined in the company, we had lots of female bosses. So seeing that was empowering as well, because, you know, seeing that we women can do better in that industry was very, very empowering. But mainly it was just our dad, because we grew up, there wasn't much social media, so we couldn't really see other female idols. So back then it was just our dad. Yeah.
I think that's one of the things about being women in aviation, is that there's been so many years where you just didn't see women up front. So I think it's great what you're doing. Do you use social media now to try and sort of show yourselves and say, yes, you know, women can be in the flight deck?
Definitely. We love to see that.
We love to motivate people.
Right. Now, sadly, this year it's been a tough time for everyone in aviation because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Can you share with us what the impact has been on your professional life as pilots?
Yes, it's adapting to the new normal.
Yeah, we've definitely flown less, and just for our pilot life is just that, because we used to do like 80 hours in a month. Now it's barely 1 or 2 flights, which is very, very sad. Yeah. With our personal life,
it's the same.
Yeah,
we just to the new normal.
Yeah.
Has obviously your father's been in the aviation industry a long time. Has he been able to give you some advice on how to cope with this pandemic? Because he must have seen some downturns in the aviation industry himself. So is there any advice that he's shared with you that is good for other people out there?
Well, he really said to stay positive, and like this is very new to him as well, because this is really big and we never expected this. So I guess he only wants us to stay positive, and
he told us that it'll definitely come back stronger. So for now, just keep positive. Try to
have faith.
Yeah. We're trying.
And talking of staying positive, is there anything that has maybe improved for the better in your life over the last year? I know people say they've had a lot more sleep, which is actually quite nice as pilots.
I've had a lot of sleep.
Sleep 8 hours a day now or more.
Yeah, and also a lot more time with our family now.
Yeah,
we used to be super busy all the time, so now for the past year we've actually spent a lot more time with our family, which is kind of a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
That's great to hear. And do you have an idea yourselves of when you think aviation might recover? I mean, we're seeing different trends in Asia and America and Europe. What's your sense for Asia, and when do you think aviation will recover to normal levels there?
Honestly, can't tell, because we're hoping with the rollouts of the vaccine, it will go way faster and everything will get better sooner, but we can't really tell.
Yeah,
the trend is kind of up and down right now.
We pray and hope it will be better soon. It will go back to normal very soon.
Great. And now we're speaking to a lot of pilots this week. Obviously, all pilots have lots of great stories. It's hard to stop them talking sometimes. What's one of your favorite stories from the flight deck, or a favorite flight that you've done?
Okay, I'll go first. Well, my favorite would be flying with my sister and my dad. Actually, that day, the day we flew together, we only flew together once. So that day, I went to Kuching to pick her up. To pick you up, to pick her up. There was a celebration in Malaysia. It's called Cap Gomeh, and here we celebrate with a lot of fireworks. So we were picking her up around 9 p.m. and on approach on final, there was so many fireworks, and I was with my dad, and the feeling of, picking up my sister and with this view, these amazing fireworks everywhere. Oh, that is the best flight ever, no doubt.
Same for me, even though I didn't get to see the fireworks. Like I said, being in the cockpit with my dad and my sister was definitely one of the best feeling ever. Yeah.
And now that you're both successful pilots, you've made it. What is your message for young pilots, and especially young girls who are thinking about becoming pilots, who are maybe looking at the pandemic and thinking, oh gosh, maybe not? So yeah, what would you say to the next generation of pilots?
Oh God, I would say go for it. If it's your dream, chase for your dream, go for it, never give up. Yeah.
Girls or guys, it doesn't matter, it's the same. So if you have a dream, go and catch it.
Well, with that, I think that's a perfect place to end the interview there with those great words. Thank you so much. So as I said, that brings us to the end of our interview today. With much thanks to Amira and Anisa. I want to thank you for joining Aerotime. It's been really interesting speaking to you, an absolute joy and a delight. I know there'll be many people watching this who hopefully get the same sense of joy as I have had speaking to you, and who feel inspired to go out there and chase their dreams, as you said. So thank you very much for sharing your story. That brings us to the end of this Aerotime interview, but please do stay tuned. We'll be publishing a range of articles and interviews marking this week to recognise and celebrate pilots. Thank you for joining us. My name is Victoria Bryan, and you've been watching Aerotime. Goodbye.